everybody to our first quarantine break, our virtual career day series. I'm Kiana, founder of Eat Soccer, and I am so excited to have with us Benny and Carolina of Eat Good NYC. They're going to tell us about making art that you can eat, maybe give us some secrets on what they do to make sneakers taste so good and how people can eat them. So, and they've been featured in Complex Magazine, the Japanese version of Vogue. They have gifted their creations to people like Beyonce, French Montana, and other pop culture influencers. And so we're so excited for you to be able to share your journey in making art edible with us. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Happy quarantine.
You too. So just a quick reminder for the people who are attending. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in the message box, and then we'll answer those at the end after we do our initial Q&A. But any questions you have, feel free to type those in and we'll address those. And yeah, so let's get started. First, tell me about your backgrounds and how did you guys come together to create Eat Good NYC?
So I can't even remember how many years we've been doing this now, but my name's Carolina. I come from actually a fashion background. I went to school for College of Textile and Fashion Design. I came to New York when I was offered a really cool job in fashion. And as I was doing that, you know, coming to New York, it's very lonely. So I got on Tinder and, you know, met Benny on Tinder. He was actually my very first Tinder date. And, you know, we had our first date and it went well, you know, and then pretty much we just kind of started talking and we had a lot of the same, you know, sort of interests. He pretty much told me he was into fashion and cupcakes, which was like super weird at the time, but you know, long story short, you know, I'll let him take over and he'll tell you the second part of that story.
Yeah, so the creation of Eat Good really in the beginning was just me just trying to like trying to like make like some bunch of like fashion stuff. So I was like doing like shirts and hats, and I was like putting like little like you know, on like little food logos and everything. So then I was just like, okay, like, you know, I need to like kind of like add something to this. So I was like, I know how to bake, so let me just start baking. Maybe, you know, I'd be like, maybe that'll make my company a little bit more different. So I was doing that for a while, and at the same time, I actually went on Tinder and I met Carolina, and we were talking, and I was telling her, you know, I was like, yeah, like, so essentially I'm into fashion and I like to bake, and she was just like, oh, like those are my like legit like two favorite things to do, and I was just like, oh, maybe I can bake for you sometime. So she came to my birthday and she tried one of my cupcakes, and it's kind of just been like together ever since then. So, you know.
At that point, I thought he was lying to me. I thought he was just saying that, like, made cupcakes. I'm like, I don't know how a guy uses that as a pickup line, but you know.
But it works.
Yeah. So for baking wise, I just picked that up as a side thing that when I used to live in Maryland and Baltimore, I used to work for Under Armour, and I was living outside of the city. I didn't really have any friends that lived in that city that I lived in, which is like way in the boonies. Yeah. And I decided to just pick it up for fun and just did it just so I could take all these sweets and make my coworkers fat. And it just kind of like spiraled from there. I got really into it because I love doing crafts and stuff. So working with fondant is kind of like working with like clay and dough and putty and stuff. So that's kind of how I started making desserts.
So what's a typical day like for you guys in the world of edible art?
Well, pretty much like I know for me, I start a lot with our emails. We work with our customers. To us, like what makes us very different is that we have a very close relationship with not just our customers, but we call them our community. We really want to build Eat Good as a culture, as a lifestyle brand, kind of like we kind of modeled it after a fashion brand. We believe that not only are there customers, there are community, there are people that go out there and support us. And I think that has a lot to do with why our brand is so successful, is because we have an amazing community behind us that believe in us and support us, because we really do something very different. So to us, we spend a lot of times on our email and our phones just to make sure that we understand our customers, what they want, who they're trying to give something to, because we really, in the end of it, we want to create something that really moves somebody and makes it a really memorable moment. So that's kind of how we do that. And, Benny can tell you a little bit of what he does, but, when it comes down to it, we share our responsibilities with the design and actual making creations and everything. And yeah. What else do we do?
Yeah, so I mean, so essentially, I mean, to us, I feel like we are like a culture brand, like like we're not just like, like when we do like something like say like fashion based or like entertainment based, it's not, like we're not looking at it from like the outside. I kind of feel like we're inside because because we're in those cultures. Like I go to like places like like Soho, which could be like like considered like the fashion mecca in New York, and I'm part of that culture. So so it's more than just like us just doing something from like I guess like a fanatic standpoint.
Yeah,
it's kind of just just making sure we're actually representing the culture and also being part of the culture.
Yes.
So so most of the time it's just like me just kind of like out there just like networking, researching,
yeah.
connecting, like
yeah.
Like there's been lots of times I've like been in a club and made a customer, had like a future customer. So,
yeah.
Like that's just how it is.
Yeah.
For us, so.
And then on top of that, we also do our own deliveries as well.
So. Yeah. So from time to time, like when stuff gets hectic, we got to go out there and you got to handle business.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so for people who are not, may not know what types of edible art that you can eat that you all create, can you give them some examples of things that you are currently doing or have done?
Well, okay, so like for example, so like that painting in the background, that is a picture. We'll get you. Yeah, okay. So that picture in the background is a sorry guys. Like this is a picture of Notorious B.I.G. This is something we would call our selfie cookie actually. And with this, like this is actually special because in the back of the Notorious B.I.G., this is a picture of where he grew up. Like this is where he was born. Yeah. So like so with our stuff, we kind of try to like paint like a picture, what I mean? So it's like, okay, we're gonna take this Biggie selfie cookie, but we're gonna go take it to where he was born, and and try to like paint a picture of it. Like, okay, like we're giving history behind our food. It's not just let me just throw something up there that's cute. Like let's give some history. Let's give some background to it.
Yeah, really the foundation of our brand was started because we just created things of people that inspired us and that really moved us, or we thought were important to share with the community. So we didn't just do we didn't just do celebrities and everything like that. We actually did people that are like influencers and stuff that actually think that is doing great stuff for the community. And we want to highlight those people that really inspire the movement and everything. And then things are just falling apart.
Morning time. Yeah.
And then we have this. This is what everybody kind of knows us for. These are our 3D cupcakes. Yeah. So we create these toppers. This is something we created for Air Max Day. This is one of the sneakers that came out this year. Unfortunately, Air Max Day happened during quarantine time, so it was more of an online thing. But usually we do a lot of events with Nike especially, and a few other people just to celebrate. So this year we just kind of celebrated here, and as you can see, we put a lot of detail in our toppers. If you can get closer, you can see we do the toe tags and the prints. Sometimes if we can, we do kind of the insole. I kind of design a lot of this stuff as a designer, as a fashion designer background. I think about all the pieces of it because I know that whoever ordered this, or say we're giving it to Nike, they put a lot of thought and effort into all the pieces of this design. So I think it's only important to make sure that we share it with and make sure that we do it all on the cupcake because it's equally as important. So even if from far away you may not see all the little details, the person holding it can see it, and that's really important.
And I was going to ask, can you eat the sneakers?
Absolutely.
Yes, you can. The sneakers are usually just made out of fondant or and icing sheets, which is like the colored sugar sheets. So you can eat the whole thing. Over time, it does get hard. What a lot of people do is like people don't really want to eat it and they just want to keep it. So we tell our customers they can just pop it off, clean the icing off the bottom, and then they can keep it on a shelf or something, let it dry up over time, and it becomes kind of a little figurine. So it gives them something to kind of remember it by and everything. But,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we learned that just over time, just customers telling us like, yeah, I kept it in my freezer for about a year. It's still there.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay. So
which actually, it's like you don't even need to keep it in a fridge. It's actually better to keep it out of a fridge because you let it dry out. If you're gonna.
I gave some sneakers to a person for their birthday, and they've been keeping them in the freezer.
Yeah. We had a lot of clients tell us they still have it in the freezer. I'm like, well, don't be taking up the real estate in your fridge. Just take it out and like whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do that. And then just a few other things we make. We don't just do cookies and cupcakes. We do cakes. We do Rice Krispies. We do candy. One of our new things that we do is candy jewelry. So we have necklaces here. This is actually a piece of candy. And then we have little chains that we put it. You can customize this. This is for Essence Magazine. And we've done rings, candy rings. So we've just thought about everything that we thought was really cool to us as like a sweet. And then how do we customize it so customers can do their own thing with it?
Yeah, it kind of plays into kind of like our childhood, like us buying like those little ring pops when we were kids.
Yeah, like a ring.
Yeah,
the ring back in the back. Yep.
Yeah, so like we were just like, okay, like how do we take the ring pops and make it like an adult version?
Yeah, exactly.
The kind of gives like kind of for us that kind of grew up and now we want something a little bit more adult based, but still kind of brings back our childhoods.
Yeah.
So.
What have been some of the toughest requests that you all have received?
Well, that's the thing with us is that people know that if there's nobody out there that do it, Eat Good will do it. Like that's literally what clients always tell us. Right. And for us, the toughest thing, we usually will try anything. We try, if a customer has something that's really off the wall, we tell them that they have to give us a long time to get it kind of researched, because we want to try things. We always are trying to push the envelope. That's part of our brand ethos, is that we try and combine technologies to like create stuff. So we kind of incorporated 3D printing as part of our process as well, just because we wanted to take it to that next level. So people know that we're open to doing those ideas. But a lot of things don't work out. Some things do, sometimes don't.
Yeah.
I can't really think off the top of my head exactly what.
Because most of the time, it's kind of the ones that it's just like 1,000, 2,000 type of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
because we have like a small, a small team. So it's like most of the time just us just staying up for like 2 days straight, just trying to get those out.
Yeah,
those are usually like the hardest ones for me.
yeah, I think definitely. But as we go, we hire on some like temporary help to help us and everything like that. As in techniques wise, nothing too crazy hard. We're definitely trying to explore new mediums.
Always.
I think one of the things that I really wanted to tackle is chocolate. But chocolate is like something I actually think that I've never gone to culinary school or anything. I've just learned everything myself. But I would love to take an actual course on tempering chocolate and like learning more about chocolate, because I would love to learn how to like sculpt chocolate and everything. So it's on our list of things to do, and we've had customers, ask us for customized chocolates. It's just a very big investment in time and creating molds and everything.
Yeah, and we'll probably figure it out during quarantine, because
now we have time, so
so
why not?
Yeah, so you guys will have that this summer probably.
So I know you mentioned a 3D printer, and for those students who may not know what you can do with the 3D printer, and you can let them know how exactly you use a 3D printer in the work that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So 3D printing is, something that when I remember I used to look at it, I just thought it was like super nerdy and like, okay, who's gonna use a 3D printer? But then the more I researched it, I was like, wow, really anybody can learn how to use it. People that don't know what 3D printing is, essentially it's like a little machine. You can buy huge units or small units. We have kind of like a medium-sized unit, and it has a build plate on top of it. And what it does is it takes this filament, which is kind of like looks like a spool of thread, but it's actually a spool of plastic. And you feed it through the 3D printer, and you use a 3D software to kind of design whatever you want. You can design like a cup, you can design like a figure. Like I created this on a 3D printer. It's like a little character.
Like this little Travis Scott.
Yeah, little Travis Scott, you know, all of that. So we were like, you know, we bought it for fun, but then really I wanted to do custom cookie cutters and shapes and like that, because sometimes customers will say like, I want, you know, sneaker shaped cookies, but you don't want to spend your time hand cutting them, and then you don't want to custom order a cookie cutter because it takes a long time. So the printing process of let's per se a cookie cutter is maybe like 40 minutes. So it's better than waiting like 2 weeks for a cookie cutter to come in, which a lot of places charge like maybe $80 to set up an artwork and get it printed and shipped and everything. So it just was a cost saving for us. It was just like something cool because I'm a huge nerd. I love learning technology.
Yeah,
so
cutting out the middleman.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to just take in all of that myself to be able to do it, because if I have something in my head, I just like gotta get it down now and fast. So yeah, so that's something we've done with it, is doing custom cookie cutters. And then, you know, we evolved and think about other things that we're still working and testing on that we'll share, you know, over time once we figure it out. But yeah, that's pretty much what we've been doing with it.
So I imagine the tools that you guys use to create your edible art, it might be a little bit different than what we have in our kitchens when we want to bake a cake. What are some of the favorite tools that you guys use that are different than what we may find in our kitchens?
For the design side, I guess you would say a lot of it, yeah, you have to go to a specialty like baking store to get. But a lot of it is like for the fondant and everything, you use a lot of sculpting tools. So same thing, you can go to the like the clay and sculpting section, and a lot of the tools you can get through that. But then really, I think it's great because there's a big surge of like baking shows and stuff like that. So there's way more, you know, resources out there for anybody to be able to do it. A lot of these companies that like run the fondant, the fondant companies and any of those, they have tons of tutorials, tons of easy ways that, and then of course like Michael's has like a huge resource in baking since the big boom of bakers and online bakers. So they have literally everything you need and an awesome 40%. Don't ever go to Michael's without a coupon. And yeah, so I think it's honestly, you can really learn how to do anything nowadays in YouTube. It's really just you putting your own spin on it and just thinking creatively and not being afraid to like fail. Just like keep doing it, because we failed a ton when we first started.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
Who have been some of your most memorable recipients of your edible art?
Obviously you mentioned Beyonce. That was like really cool, and then we were kind of like, where do we go from here?
How did you become connected with her, and how did that, you know, what did you create for her?
We had a mutual friend who actually works for Jay-Z, and that person's wife essentially got him cupcakes for his birthday, and he was very touched by it. He was very moved that he thought, hey, I think B needs some of these. So I got a call one day randomly, and I was actually still sleeping in bed, and I got a call from her, and she's like, hey, I think we want to do these for Beyonce. And I really like your brain just can't really connect those words together. So I'm like, I thought I was dreaming it. But anyways, long story short, you know, it happened. We just thought like, I mean, what do you do for Beyonce? So we just decided like, we just want to do a celebration for life of Beyonce. So everybody kind of knows us for our like selfie cupcakes. Yeah. So essentially with the middle row, it's like a dozen cupcakes. So it's like 3 rows of 4. So the middle row, we did like 4 looks of Beyonce. So we started from like,
so we did stuff from like the beginning, Beyonce. So like you know,
Destiny's Child
Beyonce,
all
to
the
like
way
when she
to,
first started her single career,
yeah,
to like like to the like basically like we
yeah,
just did like kind of like a history of Beyonce,
yeah,
and like it's like the middle row, and I
yeah.
guess,
And then we did
and
some
then the
like,
last row was like the family pictures, the
yeah,
portraits of like her Blue Ivy at the time, because she didn't have the twins at the time,
yeah,
so we did like the Blue Ivy, her,
yeah. We did like Grammy trophies and everything, everything that
a whole bunch of stuff that you can do for Beyonce, or like try to do for Beyonce because she's done so much. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to really incorporate that to 12 cupcakes, but that's also a reason why we love cupcakes instead of doing like huge, massive cakes. Yeah, is because we feel like each cupcake is like a little part of your life. So I think it's like you get to celebrate more about a person. So that's kind of how that happened. And then other people that we really like, Pharrell, that was one that we did. Pharrell, like Nigo, Verdi.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, so I'm just like a real big artsy guy. So, so like getting cupcakes to people like Cause and Murakami, like that was kind of a special moment for me because these are people that I looked up to. Mm-hmm. So to actually like here's my art now, those are really big moments for me.
Yeah, and even with you, like, for me, like I grew up in Argentina, so like doing anything in the soccer world is like amazing for me. So of course you helped me work with Chelsea, and then even though boo Chelsea, but then also I also got to work with Barcelona, so that was really cool. So it's like seeing, essentially what we really love about what we do is that we get to work with all our favorite brands, our favorite like people, celebrities, teams, media publications, people that really trust us to like kind of think outside of the box. So
it's not like really like a money grab, like we're just trying to just work with everybody.
We literally started this brand because we just wanted to do something that we really love to do just for fun, and then it just kind of
just work with people that we actually like and respect.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the best moment.
Yeah, I mean, for Benny, like Benny is like born and raised in New York. So when one day we just thought like, hey, it would be really cool to work with Madison Square Garden. Like that is such an institution here in New York. And literally, I'm not even joking. Like Benny was like, I'm gonna work with Madison Square Garden. And 2 days later, we had a meeting there. Like it's just like, you really put your passion into what you want to do and what you set your mind on, you'll figure it out. Like you definitely will. You just have to again, do it fearlessly. So so now that's one of our biggest clients that we regularly get orders from every month. So
if I know that you all stay busy with like a lot of big clients, do you take on the everyday order for somebody's birthday or a mitzvah?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I honestly think it's 50-50. Like we do tons. I mean, we'll have like 20-25 orders a week or something.
Yeah.
Half of them are definitely just, anybody.
Yeah. I mean, like right now, because of the quarantine, I mean, like a lot of the big businesses are not open, but, people want birthday cakes and like cookie orders. We're about to send off a couple cookie orders today. So so we definitely just do like, non-business folks.
Yeah, currently we're not doing any deliveries, unfortunately, just to stay safe and everything. We're doing a lot of curbside pickups and everything. But definitely. And then we also had our shop in Soho as well, in NoHo, at Showfields, where we were selling our products, and you'll do with our friends at Coffee and Clothes, and we did all the cookies and desserts there. So there we got a lot of connects with different like everyday clients who actually, there was tons of people that come all over the world to come to Coffee and Clothes and like want to try out our cupcakes just because they know that they're available there. So we just do it. Just if anybody loves it and wants to appreciate the art, we do it. There's no like, that's too boring of an order. That's not us. It's everybody's putting their thought into something, and to us it's important to take care of that person. So
exactly.
So for students that want to combine their love of art and baking, what are some resources that you suggest that they look into to start to build their skill set?
I mean, well, I would say, like definitely make sure you're actually part of the culture, like, what you're doing, like before you even try to even do, like the creating of anything, like, like study it, and then from there, yeah, you know, figure out how you could incorporate, you know, the culture into whatever art you're doing, if it's baking or whatever, you know what I mean? So yeah, like just, you know, like just make sure you're studious before you actually get into it, you know, learn everything you need to learn.
Yeah, and honestly, like I said, you literally can learn everything on YouTube nowadays. So YouTube and Instagram are great resources. Honestly, you can hashtag search anything, and you can Google anything. Honestly, like start there. I think that's a great place. And honestly, I learned a ton from the baking shows. My favorite is the British Bake Off, the Great British Bake Off. Like you learn so much technical information that I never knew not going to culinary school. Like you learn a lot. You gotta still know your foundation. Like that's really important. Like no matter how much you're like, oh, I didn't go to school for it, da, 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 you still gotta know your foundation, because that day when you make that thing and you put baking soda instead of baking powder in something and then it just destroys it, then you have nobody else to blame but yourself. So definitely learn the basics and then just kind of go crazy from there. Like you just got to understand the science behind it, and then, you know, yeah.
Absolutely.
And lastly, what's the best piece of career advice you would give to your younger self?
I feel like I get asked this a lot, and what I always tell myself when I was younger, and my mom kind of like always tells me this now, which I never thought, because I always thought, my mom always said like Carolina, you're so fearless, which I never thought I was. I never thought I was a brave person, but when part of it, I think New York brought it out of me. But really, it's just be super fearless. Like, just don't even think twice when you're thinking, unless it's something dangerous. Don't definitely think twice. But when you have an idea, just do it. Like, don't double think it. Just do it. Just try it. And if you mess it up, that's fine. You're gonna figure out what you did wrong and then just do it a different way. So just be fearless and just do it. Don't think.
Yeah. For me, well, I kind of go by like this Meek Mill line, and it's like scared money don't make no money. So it's like basically just saying like, okay, like being quiet and kind of just holding back never really helped me personally. I mean, you know, it just never helped me. So like if you want something, go out there and go get it, no matter what. You know what I mean? If you really want it. So yeah.
So how can people follow you guys and learn more about the cool things that you're doing?
Okay, so you can follow us on our Instagram or Twitter, EATGOODNYC. Mostly Instagram, because Twitter, we gotta talk, and I ain't got time for that. So yeah, so you can just go and just follow our Instagram.
EATGOODNYC. Our website is eatgood.nyc. And yeah, I mean, we're on Facebook, but definitely Instagram is our main source. So reach out to us that way. Email us, same through the website. Yeah, and that's the best way to reach us. And honestly, if you see us on the street in New York, just say hi. Yeah, you know. I mean, you know, and like if you guys are into art, I'm always somewhere. Exactly.
The art's out, so
yeah, and
I'll see you.
Yeah, exactly. Once we're out of this quarantine, come to our shop.
Absolutely.
And, you know.
Yeah. Come by the shop, say hi.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us in edible art. For those who want to tune in at 1 o'clock, we have visualist Kyra Moten. She's going to talk to us about More Than Meets the Eye. You will never look at going into a department store the same. She's going to give us some peeks on what life is like dressing people for the Macy's Day Parade, as well as giving us some, you know, behind the scenes I guess, experiences from New York Fashion Week. And then lastly, at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will have Terrell Green on, who's a software engineer who was inspired by Street Fighter. So from Street Fighter to doing things out of this world with NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, we'll learn his story as well. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, EATGOODNYC.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.